So about a month ago, I did the BC Coilover install on the Viper, and I made a video on it, but I didn't really like how it turned out because I had a lot of trouble with actually the installation, which I was surprised with. And basically, I could sum up my issues because I didn't pop off the sway bar links. So basically, when I swapped like the back left coilover, I would take the OEM one off and put the BC coilover on, and then we went to the passenger side. That wheel would be more extended down and it would put all this sort of pressure on it, so I was having a hard time removing the OEM struts, and I just didn't even think about why I was running that issue. So one suggestion I have is you can either undo the sway bar links, or you could jack up the rear and remove both OEM struts first, and then you can go ahead and install the BCs, and then likewise lift the entire front up and then remove both OEM struts and then do the BC coilover. So if you did that, it'd be super easy. I probably could have done it in like an hour and a half. I've been driving, like I said, lowered for about a month, and I'm really happy with it. You'll notice the front wheels are now turned, and the biggest reason for that is because when you pop up the hood and try and close it, it was rubbing against the tires when they're straight. That was because now we're lowered and that hood is now closer to the wheel. Or the center of the wheel, I should say. So, a couple things is drives great. Similar to OEM, not really better, not really worse, just different. And I haven't really scraped yet or rubbed. So, what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna try and drop it about another ½ inch. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and adjust the coilover. So probably about ¼ inch is what I'm gonna subtract in the threads, and what that'll do is, because the wheel's more outboard, that might bring me down maybe closer to like 3/8 of an inch, and then from there, if I really feel like I want to go even lower, then I can and bring that thread on the BC coilover in a little bit more. But I'm gonna take some measurements about where we're at, and I can see about how much we lowered it after this. So let's get to it. There's a little cold start. So as you can see, with the wheel turned, this lip has no issue rubbing into the tire. Same kind of story over here. It just moves this tire forward, so instead what would happen is it would rub right here on this tire. So when you turn it, you get that clearance. And of course, there's the custom exhaust I got on this thing. Sounding absolutely incredible. So I'm going to turn it off, turn the wheel straight, back it up a little bit, and then take some measurements. I just went around and measured all 4 corners from the bottom here on the cement up to the center of this wheel arch. Here are my numbers. It's actually pretty much dead on all around the car. Front left and front right, 26¼ and 26½ respectively, and then actually this should be back left. The back left and back right are both 27½. Now, I am no suspension expert, but I guess there's 2 schools of thought, right? So if you're only going to be the driver in the car, you probably want the driver's side of the car to be up maybe a little bit more. But if you're expecting to have a lot of passengers, and having a completely even setup like I got right now is perfect. I don't know which one I'm going to do. Personally, I'm just going to try and, like I said, thread all of them in another ¼ inch, all coilovers ¼ inch, and that should give me about a 3/8 inch drop at most, to a minimum of a ¼ inch. So, like I said, it just depends on the geometry. One thing you'll notice is the camber, negative camber on my front wheels is actually pretty noticeable. At least for my eyes it is. So I'm definitely going to need an alignment. I have plenty of clearance in here. I probably should take a measurement and see how much actually rebound I have. But I'm more or less worried about rubbing the hood. But as the wheel comes up, as it compresses, the camber should bring the top of this tire in more and more. So I like I said, I haven't rubbed at all, which is great. No rub marks or nothing. And same with the rear. But the rears are kind of tucked, and I wouldn't mind getting these, the negative camber completely perfect on this, because there is 0 rubbing issues with the back tire. Just the front is the only thing I'm kind of worried about. But yeah, so I'm gonna jack up the rear and get these adjusted. So for this, it's actually super easy. You just loosen up this bottom like collar, and you're gonna measure the gap between this bottom of the strut and the bottom of this nut, right? And that gap is gonna be how much you're gonna actually lower the car. So I'm gonna measure a 1/4 inch between here and here, and then I'm gonna tighten these, or I should say spin the whole assembly down into the shock body, into the strut body down here, until that nut now is flush with this face. It should make sense. I'll show you as I'm doing it, but basically I'm gonna just do this for all 4 corners. As you may or may not be able to see, that is a 1/4 inch gap between that nut and the strut body there. So now if I grab my spanner and I turn it, see how it turns that whole assembly? And what that does is it threads this whole strut right into the body down here. So I'm just gonna do that until this nut, like I said, it's at the 1/4 inch spot where I want it to be. But just gonna keep going until it's flush, and then I'm gonna tighten it. So that's the process, really. It's easy as that. Just threaded it down a 1/4 inch, tighten up the nut, and that's it. 1/4 inch drop here at the spring body. And like I said, that should equate to a little bit more than a 1/4 inch here out at the wheel. But yeah, that was super easy. Just gonna do the rest of the 3 corners and be done. All right, took me about 40 minutes in total to do all 4 corners, that 1/4 inch on the shock bodies themselves adjustment, which, like I said, I haven't measured yet. I just took it around the block to try and get it all evened out. So this is the ride height that it will be at, which, I mean, are you kidding me? That looks awesome. Like I said, maybe just another 3/8 of an inch gap closed, but that's all it really needed. I mean, that's just perfect. I didn't scrape, didn't rub, so I feel like I'm safe. I think the biggest thing is probably just getting alignment now. I'm pretty happy with where that's at. I don't want to keep pushing it. It's not really worth it, in my opinion, to keep pushing it just for that little extra bit. But yeah, that looks great. So I'm gonna get it back to the garage and take a measurement about where we're at and how much we actually lowered it. So some pretty interesting results. The fronts are now exactly the same at 26 inches high, and that's from the ground to the top of the fender. So a 1/4 inch drop on the front left and a 1/2 inch drop on the front right. Surprisingly, the back right stayed the exact same, and the back left dropped a 1/4 inch. So I'm not sure, maybe there's some just sort of corner balancing kind of going on where you adjust something one way and it affects the other way. But either way, I'm really happy with how it sits now, just that extra 1/4 inch all around. So I mean, that's where I'm going to be at, and I'm probably just going to go get an alignment just like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and like I said, this was probably 40 minutes in total to do all 4 corners, adjusted that 1/4 inch drop. So BC really makes it quite easy, and I mean, talk about adjustability, that's just perfect for me. So yeah, enjoy.